Hey guys, so we're gonna have a bit of a change of pace this week because it's gonna be me and Pat interviewing Kris. And we actually have decided on a name for the podcast. So are we gonna do a drum roll? I don't know if we can get drum roll, but so the welcome to the Natural Selection Podcast. So
Yes.
yeah,
Welcome, welcome,
we're
welcome.
third episode in, decided on a name. So obviously the past couple of weeks, I think we interviewed myself first. We then covered Pat's career, his 10,000 different shows that he's done, and we're going to be going over the career so far of Mr. Kris. I don't even know your surname, dude. So I
Don't
just know
even
him as
try.
Kris.
Don't even try. There's a reason there's no surname there. It's a mouthful.
Fair enough.
Right, you ready for the full thing?
Let's make a challenge. Let's say in the comment section, let's see which of the audience can guess
Yeah. Yeah. If
how to
if
pronounce your
if
name.
anyone can spell my full name and then bonus points if you can add the middle name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say
There
they
we
could
go.
probably
That's
find
challenge
your
right
full
there.
name on your Instagram, but I'm
They can
guessing the
find
middle
my
name's
full
not on there.
name
So
somewhere, but not my middle name. So we'll see who the real ones are.
yeah. So,
Cool.
Kris, why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners? Give us so how long
Yeah.
have you been training? When did you get into
hmm
bodybuilding?
Yeah. So I am 27 years old. I had my first competitive season in 2024, which was long overdue, to be honest. It was something I've been thinking about for a long time, but I just think mentally I wasn't in a position that I was wanting to commit that much to it. And, as people that know me, when I do something, I really do it. The season, you know, finished with a lot of success. I ended up doing 5 shows. Four of them was first place, and then the first one was third place, which was really competitive. But I definitely didn't bring my best. I was far from my best for that first show, which is for another story. But good season, and looking to go again towards the end of 2027. And the goal with that will be to bring my best physique and whatever comes from that. I want to be content with. I didn't feel like I ever really got to bring my best, which you probably won't fit in your first season. But now I feel like I'm in a position where I can do that, and you know, whatever the outcome is with that, it is what it is. After the first year, I don't want to be disappointed if the placings aren't the same. As long as my physique's better, then this version of Kris beats that Kris, and that's all that matters. So there's that. For people who don't know me, I'm a full-time online coach as well. We've had success with some clients competing in the previous years as well. Actually, every single one of my clients, other than one, has actually placed top three at a show, and these are all people that are very new to bodybuilding, so it's their first seasons. And if you look at where they was 3 or 4 years ago, there were people that were like not out of shape necessarily, but not like in gym shape, right? So these have been beginners, so it's been a privilege to be on the entire journey. It's not just been athletes before, it's been people that are just getting started in the gym or kind of just been doing a little bit here and there, and now they've been competitive athletes. That's amazing. I have got now a few competitive athletes that are looking to compete, which have a phenomenal standard. One of them potentially going at the end of this year, who can be really, really good. So excited for that. But anyway, that's me. That's my coaching. Getting into where it all started. So for me, um, I struggled a lot when I was growing up in finding something that I was maybe passionate about, but more just actually good at. I had a lot of obstacles with my health when I was younger. I had a lot of obstacles in education because of that. I actually was deaf for the first few years of my life, so that put me back a lot, which meant I ended up having like special needs in school. And through actually having other illnesses, I had months of school at times, so you could just imagine how it's like a domino effect. Um, and I remember kind of being like the early years of secondary and feeling pretty disheartened that I just wasn't really great at anything. And I remember just having to participate in some sports and realizing I had a natural ability where I was actually doing kind of well, you know, compared to other people. There was some kind of natural ability. I wasn't physically fit or able, but maybe it was just the determination. I don't know. But from that, I thought I found my window on what I could maybe be good at, and that meant everything to me then. So I decided to start doing some weight training from home. 'Cause I thought if I get stronger, I'm going to become better at sports. So literally just doing like press ups, doing curls, doing whatever I can with dumbbells, which led into, you know, me getting better at sports, which led into the passion of me wanting to push it even more. So I actually managed to get myself inside a gym. I think I was 14 years old, and the reason I was allowed to go in then was because they had these like air resistance machines that you were allowed to use, and that you also. So I'm just going to close this because I can hear someone. Sorry, and you was allowed to use like the cardio equipment, but as soon as I was in there, I was straight on the weights. So I was literally training from pretty much 14 years old, going as much as I can. And it all kind of spiraled from there. By the time I was kind of 17, 18, I had built, you know, a real good foundation, people noticing that. And it really just changed my life. Like I went from feeling like I was kind of unnoticed, to be honest, to, you know, people respecting me for the kind of transformation, and that led me into powerlifting. So for my age, I was ridiculously strong, like outrageously strong. Probably I'm stronger than I am now, you know, at the compound lifts like deadlift, squat, and bench. And I ended up competing in a few
It's
different
the raw
IPF
Polish
federations.
strength in it.
Sorry.
Says the raw Polish strength in it.
Well, I'm actually quarter Greek, but you can call it that way if you want. We call it monk
Right.
strength.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, that was good fun. I actually did, you know, reasonably well there as well. Um, but and then a new gym opened up called LRF, and for those people that might know, Team LRF, Rob opened that gym, and obviously he has a good background on coaching competitors and nutrition plans, and he basically ran like a 10-week challenge and decided to do it after training probably for like 5 years. You know, I had a good base, and I got lean, loved it. You know, I was at that age where vanity was a big thing. I think I was like 19 years old here. But funny thing about that is I lost like 13 kilos in 10 weeks, looked really good. And then I went to Zante on a boys' holiday, and I came back heavier within 7 days. Because like at that point, people were telling me about like a rebound and stuff like that, and you just think there's no way it's going to go back on that quick. Obviously, it wasn't all body fat, but mate, by the end of the holiday, like I could hardly breathe. I was just, I was just going to like I was eating whatever, like at the end of the night, getting cookies, whatever from Subway, getting Subway sandwich. But I think what really done it was the alcoholic drinks, because they were just giving it to you, and it was just like pure fruit juice, and like you know how many calories you consume in that. I was just chucking it back day and night, um, and yeah, I came back, felt pretty fucking shit to be honest, because I was like put all that work in and got my first rebound. But anyway, that kind of led me down the bodybuilding route anyway, and kind of found my passion with that. And as the years go on, kind of here I am, I suppose. That's probably a big overview on it. I mean, I could dive into a little bit more in the stages it took me to becoming like an online coach or whatever, but I'll let you guys, you know, if you guys got anything to ask from that or want to direct me anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. My first question is, what have you noticed? I mean, like, what have you taken in from your time off from the first year of competing to now? Like, what have you do you feel like you're in a better position going to your next time you step on stage because you are now aware of what it takes and the requirements or anything like that? Do you feel like you've benefited a lot from having the time off?
Massively. I feel like a completely different person, to be honest. Like the first season, like I almost, being completely transparent, I kind of wanted to do it, but I kind of didn't want to do it. I just knew that I probably should, because I knew it would benefit. I thought it would benefit my work, and it's new. I wanted to do it at some point, so I was like, right, the time's now. Whereas when I return back to stage, this is something that I actually want to do now. Like,
Yeah,
like I really fucking want to do it. So for me, my reasons are better. Like I made the mistake of kind of doing it for the wrong reasons a little bit, to be honest. But now, like I'm doing it because I actually want to bring my best. I want to see what my best is, and I'm actually less bothered with the outcome, which I know is easy to say now. You know, of course, you're going to be disappointed if things don't go good, or happy if things go great. But yeah, I feel like my why is a lot better than it was, and because of that, I feel like um, I'm mentally prepared for it, and I know what it takes as I've done it. And as we all know, every time you diet, you know, it does get a bit easier. You learn things, and I can see a lot of mistakes I made first time, which I won't be making this time. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
So my question would be, obviously you had a background in powerlifting
Mm,
and by your own admission got ridiculously strong.
yeah,
Like, do you think having that baseline in strength of that maximal strength has then given you an advantage to then be able to like transition now into kind of like bodybuilding training? Like, maybe
yeah.
the listeners don't know, like, could you explain a little bit of the difference between kind of like the modalities when it comes to training for powerlifting and how that's then helped you with your bodybuilding?
Yeah, so I think training for powerlifting, you're basically training for three main lifts, which you use every single muscle in pretty much every single lift. Like people might think you don't for a bench press, but if you're bench pressing like a power lifter, you're using every single muscle in your body, like your leg drive, the stability for everything. So I think you have to become very in tune with your body, and you have to also become very like efficient. And I think where you become in tune with your body, it actually was almost something that I could like with mind to muscle connection and stuff like that, they come quite easy. And I actually think like a massive base was already built for me. Like I knew how to do like three of the biggest movements, you know, and a lot of the time everything, not everything, but a lot of things are almost like a variation of those movements. So if you learn, you know, to learn them firsthand and then you're just diving off into different stages, it was almost like a lot easier. And I think the other thing is it almost gave me an advantage to a lot of the typical muscles that people lack. So maybe legs, you know, maybe glutes, like, you know, thickness through the back. That all kind of came because, like, not because I wanted it to, but because of what movements I was doing and how I was doing them. So I was actually low bar squatting, which ended up being like a glute and lower back exercise, quite honestly. And then obviously you had deadlifts on top of that. You know, hinging again, you know, hamstrings, glutes, back, and then just bench press in general, which you know done its job in teaching me, you know, how to press strong, and um, yeah, I think it did definitely give me a head start in certain areas, for sure.
I think is when you see people on stage, you can, what do they call it, like muscle maturity. You can
You can tell
see
who's
Yeah,
when
strong
somebody
sometimes.
has that, you can tell that they have lifted
Yeah,
some fucking heavy weights in their
yeah,
career at some point. And then
yeah,
you can also see on the opposite end of that, the guys that clearly have a gap in their
mm,
back because they're
mm,
not lifting heavy stuff up off the floor.
yeah,
So
mm.
100%.
Yeah,
they're
I think
not.
the argument for like hinging and stuff like that, I've been on both extremes. Um, and yeah, I do think there's a lot of value in some kind of hinge, whether that's a deadlift, you know, an RDL, a stiff leg, whatever your preference is, to be honest. I just think when you're holding that much weight and you're moving it towards the ground, like your body's literally got to adapt or it's going to snap, you know, and that's why, you know, you get like the thickness in through the erectors and, you know, through them areas. And I think without it, you know, it's when you sometimes just get the people with, you know, maybe the lats, the upper back, and they do just lack thickness through, especially like the glutes and the lower back. I think you can get away with like the hamstrings through just like isolations, maybe a bit more, but you always see gaps in the glutes and definitely through like the erectors.
Yeah, 100%.
I think also not only that, he also had the whole idea of powerlifting because I did powerlifting as well before I got into bodybuilding. Um, But like we literally, me and my flatmate ran like the Larry Hill's strength program, powerlifting program, like for like a solid year and a half or so before we even started bodybuilding training. And I
Mm.
think that mentality of like pushing through powerlifting and learning to be stronger, doing the basics right is always such a good foundation to go into bodybuilding and just to show up, like to kind of train harder, basically.
100%. Like if you can learn the barbell squat, any
Yeah,
squat alternative is always going to be easy.
yeah,
Like
literally.
if you can learn to deadlift, you're always going to be able to do like actually deadlift well, any other hinge quite well as well.
Yeah,
And bench press does correlate with a lot of pressing. Like obviously it can be different, sure, but it is just foundations. You know, even with like overhead press, sometimes just doing stuff like that. And in all honesty, I still did do like bodybuilding movements, but it was just like I just wanted to be like really strong rather than look great. So
yeah,
slamming as much food as I can.
I think what you were saying there about, I think a lot of people underestimate that exercise is a skill. And to
yeah,
be a good power lifter, you have to perfect that skill because you're literally lifting weight to get better at lifting weight. And the
Yeah,
only way you're going to be able to fully maximize that is if you have got very good skill within that movement so that you can continue to get stronger at it. If you have a
yeah,
poor skill set when it comes to those movements, you're going to hit the top end of what your body's capable of much faster. So when people say form, like you need to improve your form, they're not just doing it to be a dick about it. They're doing it
no,
because the ceiling on your ability to perform that exercise and
yeah,
progressively overload it,
yeah,
if you are not performing the exercise right, is much, much lower because you're asking your body to do a
yeah.
movement that it's not
Inefficient.
designed to do.
You know, if, the whole point of it is to use as many muscle groups as possible, really efficiently to move, the load. If you're just trying to use one muscle, it's the opposite to bodybuilding, right? You're trying to,
Mhm.
yeah, most of the time, one muscle to move most of the load, whereas we're trying to use as many muscles as possible to move that load so it's efficient. So, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
some.
With
So go on.
one thing that I thought, since we're on it, that I will um, get into is just like, 'cause a lot of people asked this, like, you talked, Patrick, about how you got into your posing coaching and kind of fell into that, and I think it has a value in talking about how I kind of got into online coaching. So I always kind of wanted to do like personal training, and at the time, that was the only route in fitness when I was younger. And obviously, as the years went on, online coaching became a thing. So for me, it literally did just start off with actually helping people for free. Like I was in the gym, I was doing fairly well, getting fairly good results. I probably helped like 10 people for free and actually got like pretty good transformations from them. And then from there, it just kind of made sense to think, you know what, I can turn this into a little side hustle, enjoy it anyway. So I remember getting a logo made, spending some money on bits, um, and just promoting it a little bit. And I basically did it as like a side hustle for about a year. Um, and then COVID come along, and you know, basically towards the back end of COVID, I
Yeah,
knew that people were going to be desperate for get back into fitness and coaching. So I decided basically that I think I had an income of about £700 a month, okay, and I had no outgoings, and I was young. I had a lot of savings as work. And I say a lot of savings. I had a good amount of savings because I've been working on the railway basically full time through COVID. 14 days off, one on. That's literally what we did, and I saved all that money. I didn't spend it. Did that for nearly 2 years or whatever. Um, and I just thought, you know what, this is my opportunity. So I literally, as soon as COVID rules broke, I left the railway and decided just to pursue it full time. And that was that. And then, like, thankfully, it all um, it took off, and that's why I say to people that, like, this was, sometimes you think it's like a dream and it can't happen, but it absolutely can. Like, for anyone, like, I'm no different to anyone else. Just get yourself in a good position and fucking do it. Like, I remember when I started the coaching business, and I can actually remember this in my brain right now. I remember walking into the gym the next day and people were laughing at me about it. I knew they were talking about it. And then years later, them fuckers are trying to sign up as clients. So it's just like, fuck you know what I mean? So obviously be smart
Yeah,
about it, but
they
like,
get the
you know,
premium package, do they? It's extra
Yeah,
50% on top of their monthly fees, yeah.
exactly. But no, yeah, honestly, like I think it's important that like same for you guys as well. Like you guys probably dreamed about being fucking WNBF pros, and you know it is achievable, right? Like
Yeah.
you just got to have that vision and you know the discipline, and I think it's really important for people to know that.
Well, I think one thing that I always tell, so I work as a manager, but I also have like PT slash online coaching clients on the side. And
Hmm.
one thing I will always say to people is like bodybuilding and fitness is one of the best ways to learn like self-discipline, because in most other areas of life, especially like, I don't know whether it's a British thing or it's a Western thing, like we seem to fear failure. Like people don't want to and they don't try new things until where they are now is so uncomfortable that this thing that may or may not work, like it's that fear. The opposite of failure isn't is comfort. When you're in a
Yeah,
comfortable situation, it's very hard to leave that to maybe go and do something that is therefore uncomfortable and may or may not work. Whereas when you get into the gym and you learn that actually, when, say, on day one, somebody can't do a body weight squat correctly, so
mm,
you regress that back, maybe they go and do box squats or goblet squats or whatever they kind of need to do, and they come back to that movement 6 weeks later, and suddenly I can do that now, even
hundred
though they
percent.
failed it at the first time, and they start learning, well, what else am I capable of? What limiting beliefs do I have in my own head about what I can and can't do? And it starts to like bleed out into other aspects of their life. They start to question things at work, at home, they get more organized. So when you add like training and managing your nutrition like into your life, I call it a keystone habit. When you
Yeah,
get that
hmm,
keystone habit in place, it tends to assist in lots of other areas as well.
hundred
yeah.
percent.
I fully
And I
fully
think
agree with that. I think like it's not only that. I think when it comes to the gym is just very raw. It's very honest with you. Like the effort you put in is what you get. So it's
Yeah,
the one thing that will not lie to you. Do you know what I mean? Like if you go in, you train half hard, you're gonna get half hard results. If you go in, you train hard, you're gonna get hard results. Do you know what I mean? So it's just very honest and like you haven't got even if people around you are not supporting you all the way, like your results going to speak for itself because in a few weeks down the line, they're going to be coming to you, asking you for tips. When they were laughing at you at first, like Chris said earlier when he started PTing, it just, yeah, it just is what it is. Just what you put in is what you get. So it's therefore an honest way to kind of challenge yourself to really grow, not just like physically, but mentally. Because you can, like I say, you can take it into every single part of your life. If you take the
yeah,
same approach as you take with your gym, you can improve any aspect of your life.
100%.
Frozen? Oh, we are
I
good.
think something important to note is like a little bit. I think we got you. But yeah,
Okay.
something really important to know, Rich, is something that I've come more aware of as I'm getting older. But it's like, yeah, the failures is what actually, you know, what you actually get more from because that's what you have to make a change to have a success. So you actually learn. Like if you just have success all the time, like you don't actually grow. You know, it's when you do something shit, it's when you fuck up, when you feel like shit, and you're like, I'm not letting that happen again, or I'm not fucking being that person again. Like you ask the people that have achieved the most, they've 100% failed the most. But it's
yeah,
literally it's a
Yeah.
maths game. So the more you fail, the more you will succeed. And I think that's something that's hard for everyone to get their head around because, especially like you're saying, in the UK school system, you're taught don't fail, don't take risks, you know, don't make
Yeah,
mistakes, play it
literally.
safe, you know, do this, do that, and you know, it's bred in for you from a kid, and that was me all over, you know, and as I'm getting older, I'm trying to become the opposite because if you look at the people you have role models to, they're like they're telling you the opposite, you know, and they're the people that you want to be like. So
lost part. He'll be back in a
Yeah.
sec, I hope.
Could you hear him when he was talking? I was getting little
Yeah.
bits.
So was I. It was jotting in and out. So I'm hoping because
It
Riverside,
will clear up.
yeah, it should clear it up when it pulls it together. But to bring that back to a bodybuilding reference, like think about how many times you've seen like those guys that are like they're genetic freaks. It's their first season and they go and clean
Mm,
up like everything
mm,
at like a regional level. They go to nationals and then they like lose one show and they disappear off the face of the earth because they've
yeah,
had that journey easy up to that
yeah,
point. They faced their
100%.
first sort of hardship, their first
Yeah,
test, where they've
yeah,
in this game. There's so many levels to it, and you're gonna have. I don't know. Well, you've only competed 1 year, but I know that each time that I've
yeah,
competed, I've taken a step up, and my confidence has just been knocked right back down because you've just won
100%,
a show. You then go up to
100%.
that next level and you're competing with that next tier of difficulty, and
Yeah,
suddenly you're back of the pack again. And
yeah.
bodybuilding is one of those sports where,
You
for the
like fixing.
majority of people, you're going to lose a lot more than you're going to
Yeah,
win. And if
100%.
you're only doing it for the Instagram clout and for that first place medal, you're probably not
Yeah,
going to last because
no.
you're going to come to
That,
that obstacle and eventually find something that you're not going to be able to overcome.
yeah, and I think that's why like talking about your why is so important, and I think I realized that more than ever because of my first season, and also just with like with working with some clients that with the insight you see on the backhand of it, like winning a bodybuilding show is not gonna do much for you really. Like it's not going to fix anything. It's not really going to make you feel any better about yourself if that's what you're doing it for. Like it has to be because you actually just love bodybuilding. You want to see your physique at its best. If it's anything more than that, I think you're really setting yourself up for a failure. And I think I think a lot of people now, because of Instagram and stuff like that, they think if they get a first place or a place in, and they can stick it on their Instagram, then they're going to feel fulfilled, and they're not. They're just going to be fucking miserable with their post show.
Yeah, it's that. It's always that old thing of somebody
I'll be
wins a
happy
show
when.
and runs to put IFBB Pro in their Instagram bio, and it's like it's one of those things, like you said, if you don't have a solid core of your self-worth and your value, that
Mm,
shiny medal, like you've got to remember, like you're prepping for 20, 25, 30 weeks, you're on stage for 5 minutes.
yeah,
Nobody remembers who maybe the world champion, like pro world champion. But if you go
yeah,
to the UK DFBA or the BMBF
yeah,
or whoever
exactly.
it is,
Exactly.
nobody remembers who won the
No,
East Division
no.
title overall last year. Like
But
it's so
but
fleeting.
even sorry, carry on.
So it's just that if you're using that external validation
Yeah,
to make yourself feel good, it's only ever going to be temporary, and then you're back to square one, and you're
yeah,
always going to be chasing that validation from
mm,
somewhere. Whereas learning to the there's an old saying that I like that's everybody's perfect exactly the way they are. However, we
mm,
could all use some improvement.
mm,
So it's that dichotomy of understanding that I can be happy in where I am right now, but I can also be
yeah,
working on myself at the
yeah.
same time. They don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah, it's like almost putting a time frame on your happiness. It's like I'll be happy when, and then you get there and you're not happy, and the lamppost moves and it keeps moving. It's because
Yeah.
life's not a destination; it's a journey. So it's like it's
Yeah.
forever moving. So if you're waiting to be happy, you're going to live a very unhappy life. Like the time to be happy is now.
Yeah.
It looks like
Well,
we've
I
got
think
Patrick
Pat's
back.
trying to get back in.
I can hear
Apologies,
something.
guys, for the technical difficulties.
It's always Pat as well. You guys are going to come to realise that. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting up a GoFundMe for Patrick to get
Yes,
better
internet.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I'm only messing.
So how's
Um,
training and stuff going at the moment?
Mate, honestly, really good. Like, oh no, it's going to go.
You've lost them again.
Mate, epic. Training's great. Training performance is really good. Still at a point where like I'm happy with my visuals. You know, there's that nice spot where like training's good, food's in a good spot, but like visuals are also good. It's not like too far either way. So yeah, I'm sitting in a good spot, and just need to keep doing what I'm doing, mate. To be honest, and I'm very happy with the way things are coming on. So yeah, I think I'm very very satisfied with it at the moment. What about yourself?
So last week, the first kind of couple of days, so Monday, Tuesday, I felt all right, and then it got to Wednesday, and then something came up at work, and then it got to Thursday, so I was meant to do my Wednesday session on Thursday, and just when stuff's been building in the background, and you know that you've hit a tipping point when you're not even looking forward to training.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I messaged my coach. I took an extra couple of days off, and then on the Friday, I nearly fucking killed my dog. Um, so
Sorry.
took her out for a walk. She's just turned 2. Her recall has just gone awful. So a
Oh really?
30-minute walk turned into an hour and a half walk,
Um,
and it was, if you remember last Friday, it was freezing, and she doesn't have a thick coat. So I
yeah.
eventually managed to get her back in, went inside to get the towel, and like when somebody's got hypothermia, they stop shaking. So she'd been shaking, and then she'd stopped, and I was like, she didn't look right. Got her into the kitchen, got a hot water bottle. She ended up having like a fit because she'd
Oh,
gone so severely hypothermic. Eventually got her to the vet. £800 of vet bills later, they'd put like warm fluids and stuff through her. She's all right now, but it was just one of those things when I was already like on the edge, like mentally anyway. And then
yeah.
having nearly killed my dog because I'd let her go off the lead when I should really have kept her on the lead because her recall's bad. And it was
Yeah.
just taking then a
Not
couple of
ideal.
days back out, but then back to this week, Monday, Tuesday. So all of my sessions this week have felt kind of like much better. But when you'll probably have it yourself, you give the best advice like out to your clients, but then sometimes you forget to take your
Yeah.
own advice. And I think I'd never taken that time after prep to mentally like reset and go back into like a normal level of like get up and go. Like as you'll know,
Mm,
when you're in prep, it's literally just your mind's going 100 miles an hour all the time, and it's intense. Like that's why we can't
yeah.
stay in that mode forever. And I
Yeah.
think I never gave myself the time to kind of get back out of that mode. I just
Mm,
shifted what the focus was on, and I just burnt out. So
yeah.
yeah, it's been an interesting last week anyway.
I think that's a really good point. Like two things. So
Use my phone
just
because
like you said,
this
is
shit is pissing me off.
strategically taking your foot off the gas so you can like make more progress long term, if that almost makes sense. Like if
Yeah.
you're thinking you could be 110%, 100% at a time, like that just doesn't happen. And you know, sometimes will leave you to burn out, which will actually just mean that if you just took a bit of time off, that would have been a better situation. And then the other point being that,
Hey,
like,
I'm
I
back.
think some people, he's back.
I'm just gonna use
The
my
other
phone
point
because my
being that,
laptop's
like, I
been.
think people, no worries, bro. Um, yeah, that like, I think a lot of people are deluded on because of Instagram, and everyone thinks that, you know, every like some people's training is always good, and it's just not the case. Like I know the last few weeks, Patrick was like, oh, I need a deload because I'm battered. You're just talking about that. Life has just got on top of you a little bit and it's affected your sessions. You guys are WNBF pros, and people might be surprised that that's actually a thing. And people do have lives outside of this, and other stresses which will directly affect things. Which I think is important for people to know.
I think exactly on that point, like because of the Instagram world that we live in, and you only ever see the highlight reel, and people
Yeah,
only ever share when it's going well. They
yeah,
don't tell you when it's all getting
no,
a bit too
massively.
much. I've taken an extra few days off the gym this week just for like mental health, essentially.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think it's important for people to actually share that part because I know I'm guilty of sometimes feeling like I'm not doing enough
yeah,
because I'm not living up to the bodybuilding pedestal that I see everybody
yeah,
putting it on. So you're constantly questioning, like, am I good enough? Like, am I doing enough? There's always somebody out there that's working harder than me. But ultimately, you've got to have a life as well. Like if you're running at 110% all the time, eventually you're gonna either turn around and go, I fucking hate this, like why do I live like this? Or you're gonna burn yourself out. So
Yeah.
I think being open and honest, like when we are struggling and when things aren't quite going right, I think that's probably gonna be very useful.
Yeah.
I think it's really admirable as well, and I think that's why Seabum had so much success, is that he just told the truth, you know, and he said those exact things like, I'm Mr. Olympia, I should be doing more, I should be doing this and that, but you know, he had those feelings and shared them, and I think that's why, you know, he was so relatable and everyone loves him. So it's good that you can open up that as well.
I'm
We're
guessing we're
setting up a
talking about,
GoFundMe for you, Patrick, to get better internet.
yeah, I know, right? So it's just awful, man. I'm just going to use my phone from now on. It's so much easier.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
just add to what you guys. I think I'm gonna just what you guys
I
were talking
can't hear
about.
you, Patrick.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Please don't tell me that. Hello, can you hear me?
He's
You
really
got it.
janky in me.
Ah,
Huh?
what's going on? Yeah,
I
it's just
understand.
not good for me, mate.
Oh
Hard
dear.
task
Fucking
to
awful
get
today.
Patrick sorted for the
So
first
freaking
technical
awful.
episode.
Yeah. We need
We'll
to
have
get him
to,
a
I'm so over it.
hardwired like internet connection into his laptop.
yeah. I mean,
And then from
we
next
just
week I
need to
should
progress with
be in
Wi-Fi,
the
right?
home gym rather than having to be at work.
Oh, that's good, man. That's good. I feel like, to be fair, these first few conversations have been fairly productive, and you know, people do click back and listening. Hopefully, they've got a good insight on us, and we are making decent progress with our logo as well, which maybe we'll be able to share soon.
Yeah.
So, fucking pretty much a pro podcast already, haven't we?
Definitely. Well, I think one of my clients is an editor and she was saying if you make it past, I think the first 10 episodes, you're in like the
Okay.
top 10% of podcasts like in the
No
world.
way.
Like most
That just goes to show
podcasts don't make
everything.
it past
Like,
10.
people have just no resilience. Like, I'm saying this now, but like, fuck me, like, come on.
Yeah.
I think again, it's doing it for the right reasons. You know, we all jumped on a call and agreed why we want to do this. You know, we're not here thinking it's going to blow up or, you know, do this or that. We're doing it because we're three lads who love the gym, you know, like talking about it. And, you know, we feel like we can give value to anyone that wants to listen. And, you know, whether that's 5, 10 people, then that's fine, you know, and if it becomes more than that, great. If it's not, I'm
Yeah.
not going to get upset about it. You know, same with the reason I started the YouTube channel, you know, and for the first few years I was literally getting like, you know, less than 50 views and I just didn't care. And now I occasionally actually get one that actually gets a good amount of viewing. And it's like, I don't care, like I'm just going to keep doing it anyway.
Yeah. When you do it because you enjoy it, I
Yeah,
think it comes across in the content. If you're doing it for the clout, like anything, it takes time. Like
yeah, yeah.
especially with algorithms and stuff like that, ultimately you're probably not going to get a lot of views on the first few episodes that you do because
No,
the algorithm doesn't even know who you are. Like obviously we can
no,
share it on like our profiles and stuff, and the people
yeah,
that already like to listen to us and want to listen
yeah,
to us on a deeper level will then kind of tune in. But
yeah.
ultimately to kind of build that audience, it takes time and you've got to want it for the right reasons.
100%, mate. 100%. Are
Do you
we
want to
going to get
sign us off
Patrick back
then?
in? Yeah, I was just thinking, I think we'll call it there. I think that's 3 episodes that's been productive. We've introduced each other. We are gonna set up the GoFundMe for Patrick, which we'll put the link in the bio. Hopefully, he won't actually be upset by it. When I said that, I thought, was that a bit harsh? Obviously, that was a complete joke. Oh no, no, he's
Yeah,
back.
he's back.
Oh
He's
my
back.
God, I've missed the whole freaking podcast, haven't I?
Pretty much, mate. We're just
Ah,
about to sign off. Anything you want to
ah,
add?
mate. Yeah, fair enough. My fault. I need to get better
Right,
phone or
Patrick,
better
you need to
internet.
pull up your broadband right now.
I need to what?
We're the first episode.
Right?
The first episode, we're gonna start the video and we're going to
Right.
have it on while you call up the broadband and upgrade.
Yeah, do that, mate. Yeah, that was fucking jokes, mate. Oh man, but I did hear a little bit of what you guys were talking
Right.
about in terms of like just to add my little 2 cents before you guys sign off. Um which was when you guys were talking about feeling the pressure, like is that what you guys are talking about when you're training? And not being 100% all the time,
Yeah.
but we have to push through. Yeah. I think that is the most realist thing ever. And I think the best way to deal with it, which is I'm still trying to figure out and I've getting myself around it, is finding your like your happy place. And when I go to the gym, well, I feel like the pressure's on. That's why the whole white girl music thing started, because as soon as that music goes on, I'm in my own little bubble, nothing else matters, and I can just
Makes perfect sense. No, I actually got most of that.
okay, cool. That's good. All right.
I got most of that, but we're not going to push. We're not going to push the luck anymore. So, guys, thank you again. Thanks for everyone that has actually, tuned in and listened this whole way. If you have, drop Patrick's internet is crap in the comments to make sure we know you're the real ones. And yeah, thanks again, guys. Looking forward to see you on the next episode. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.